Hey, what's up y'all? I'm back with another video. Seeing as I've covered mining, herbalism, and fishing together in separate videos, I figured I'd go ahead and cover the last but certainly not least gathering profession, being skinning. Skinning has been a great way of stacking papers since it was introduced to the game 20 years ago, and in this video I figured I'd show you the best way to level as well as the best place to farm in each of the 4 zones around 𝓻𝓲𝓷𝓷 in the War Within. From killing bees to talent trees, I'm going to show you how you can make millions of gold with skinning in the War Within. First and foremost, you're going to want to max out your skill level in 𝓻𝓲𝓷 skinning, seeing as the higher your skill is, the higher chance of obtaining high level skins as well as hides and other reagents. Compared to leveling the 3 other gathering professions, skinning is a cakewalk, taking hardly any time if you know where to go. The place that I personally would recommend is located here by Pillar Nest Worth in Azj-Kahet, since the mobs have an incredibly fast respawn rate and the mobs themselves will skin for chitin, which, while not listing for very much, will make for a better gold making opportunity than some of the other leveling options such as the meter bees on the Isle of Dorn or off the western coast of Hallowfall. Now, choosing the proper specialization is important. For 99% of players looking to maximize their efficiency while farming gold with skinning, you're going to want to fully invest in the tanning specialization. With a maxed out tanning specialization, you're going to gain 50 raw skill in skinning, which is more useful than any of the other specializations or sub-specializations that are available. So in my opinion, it's important that you full send into this, as nothing else is important as it. At least in my opinion though. After this, I would recommend putting points into the 2 sub-specializations following tanning, being concrete chitin and luxurious leathers, depending on whether you decide to farm chitin or leather. The other main build that you can go for with skinning involves putting some points into harvesting to unlock some of the sub-specializations, since they have niche benefits that may allow them to be strong throughout the expansion. With harvesting, the main sub-specialization worth paying any attention to is Trophy Taker, increasing your chances of obtaining specific leathers immediately, as well as giving you 300 perception boost by the time the specialization is maxed out, which is insanely strong. The main drawback to the sub-specialization, however, is that you're only going to obtain a little bit of finesse and deftness, meaning that the amount of skins you're able to obtain may suffer in exchange for the quality, which may not fare well later into the expansion when you're able to gather enough knowledge points to max out the specialization anyways. I personally would avoid Fishing Friend and Meat Carver outright, seeing as meats aren't really worth the effort that they take to acquire, and there is literally zero benefit to fishing this expansion at all, meaning that you would be better off learning an entirely new profession altogether than putting any knowledge points into this specialization. Now that you're leveled and putting your points in the right places, let's get into the farming. The first zone that I wanted to try farming in was Azj-Kahet. Since I figured I was going to be disappointed, I may as well get out of the way, since the zone as a whole has been pretty underwhelming as a whole for me as far as gold farming goes. Much like the area I presented in my mining and herbalism guide in the Isle of Dorn, the best place for gold farming in the zone that I was able to find was in the southeastern corner of the zone, near the Pillar Nest Worth area, as the mobs have incredibly fast respawn rates as well as drop a pretty hefty amount of chitin. Farming this area for an hour yielded me a total of 694 leathers for a total gold per hour rate of around 23,000 gold per hour. Overall, while not super impressive, as far as gold farming in Azj-Kahet goes, it may be the best option, seeing as just about every other method of farming throughout the zone has yet to yield me anything remotely worth investing any amount of time into. There was a pretty decent chitin farm towards the northern part of the zone, however it was unfortunately stealth nerfed towards the start of the expansion, since this is a no fun allowed environment and there's nothing Blizzard hates more than its players having fun making money. Now, while this farm is good, the next farm may be even better. The next farm that I wanted to showcase may be the premier skinning farm in 𝓻𝓲𝓷, being located here in the Isle of Dorn, farming the wolves and bees around the area. This area is probably the best farm for gold making with skinning, at least in my opinion, as almost all of the mobs in the area are elite, meaning that you're more likely to get high quality leathers as well as other high quality reagents such as cinderbee bellies and hides. Farming this area for an hour with a farming group yielded me 894 leathers for a total of around 36,000 gold per hour, which is pretty good. Honestly speaking, this may be one of the better gold farms in the current economy, seeing as the value of things are starting to level out as Season 1 begins, and there's a lot of gold to be made from crafting high quality pieces of gear as people are looking to begin stepping into mythic dungeons as well as the raid. It's also worth mentioning that the mobs in this area drop sizzling cinder pollen, and after collecting 900 of the item, you're able to purchase the reins of the soaring meter bee, a brand new bee mount that looks pretty cool. Not going to be riding it though, since I have my Uncorrupted Voidwing and Wastewarp Deathwalker, which are infinitely cooler, but I can still respect game. The next zone that I decided to farm skins in was the Ringing Deeps, and finding information regarding skinning goes was quite difficult for the zone. After doing some exploration myself, I discovered that there's quite a good farming location, the likes of which you can find here in the elite area of the Ringing Deeps. Now, while the mobs may be difficult to kill, as well as having decently long respawn timers, 2 of the 3 rare elites that spawn in the area drop between 3 to 5 rank 3 hides for an average of between 4,000 to 7,000 gold per mob, depending on if you get lucky with your drops or not. Now, it's difficult to get a true gold per hour rate as far as the 2 mobs, the Spore-infused Shellwing and Disturbed Earthgorger, have pretty long respawn timers, so if you're looking to just make some quick pocket chains on a skinning ult, I'd highly recommend this, since it takes no more than a couple of minutes of your time to kill the 2 mobs, while at the same time putting between 10 and 20,000 gold in your pocket for little to no effort at all. The last zone that I wanted to try farming skinning in is none other than my favorite zone in the War Within, being Hallowfall. The best area that I found for farming skins is located over here in the western side of the zone, towards the coastline, seeing as the mobs respawn pretty quickly, are easy to kill, and are more than abundant. The main drawback to farming in the area is like what I said earlier, that not all the mobs, namely the calf mobs, don't drop leather, meaning that you may be working a little harder than you need to in order to get to the metaphorical finish line. Farming this area for an hour yielded me 742 skins for a pretty solid gold per hour rate of 28,000 gold per hour, which is pretty solid. Hallowfall in general seems to be the best zone for farming gold with gathering professions across the board, and while it may not be the best zone overall for skinning, it's still a pretty solid choice if there aren't any Isle of Dorn bee farming groups up or it's highly contested, since at the moment it seems to be one of the peak farming spots for people looking to make some of that nice and easy early expansion gold as well as the Cinder Bee mount. Anyways y'all, thanks for watching. Skinning, while not one of my favorite professions, is definitely in my top 3 as far as gathering professions goes in the War Within. There's a decent amount of gold to be made, such as things from hides, and with Season 1 having started recently, the prices for items are pretty good right now, meaning that farming skinning is certainly worth the time and effort to invest into. Like I've been saying in all my videos recently, my Discord server is officially open, the link of which you can find at the end of a short PowerPoint presentation down in the description below, so feel free to hop in and show off pictures of you killing 𝓙𝓲𝓷 and 𝓙𝓵𝓭, since I love seeing content like that. I'd also like to mention that my guild, the Guy, is currently recruiting for high-end PvE content as well as guild activities such as posting up in largely populated areas, as well as general shenanigans and remaining nonchalant during high-pressure situations. And if you'd like to join, feel free to join my Discord or shoot Bonesaw or I a message in-game so that we can deliberate on your acceptance. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, peace.